My name is Betty. All my life, I wanted just one thing. Not money, not fame. Just to hear my mother say, I'm proud of you. If this story touches your heart, please subscribe, share, and comment. It means more than you know, but those words never came. Not when I finished school. Not when I got my first job. Not even when I stood on stage holding a prize. She looked at me with the same face she always had. Cold, blank, far away. That look still lives inside me, like a shadow that never fades. I grew up in a quiet house. My father left when I was 4. I do not remember his face. My mother never spoke about him. It was like he never existed. She worked long hours. She came home tired. She cooked. She cleaned. But she never smiled. Not at me. Not at anyone. When I was small, I would draw little pictures. Stick figures with big eyes. Hearts and rainbows. I would hand them to her like they were treasures. She would glance at them, then glance at the clock. Time for bed, she would say. No hug, no smile, no good job. Still, I kept drawing. In school, I was not the best student, but I was quiet, hardworking. I listened. I followed the rules. One day, my math teacher gave me a sticker, a small red star. It said, "Well done." I was so proud. I ran home with it in my hand. I held it out to her like it was gold. She took it, looked at it for 1 second, and said, "That's nice." Then she placed it on the table and walked away. That was it. No smile, no hug, no warmth. When I was 10, I made a cake in school. It was dry, too dry, but I was proud of it. I brought it home and gave her a slice. She took one bite. "It needs more sugar," she said. Then she pushed it away. I sat there staring at the cake. A part of me hoped she would take another bite, say something kind. But she didn't. She never did. And still I kept trying. I helped her with chores. I cleaned the kitchen. I folded her laundry. I put her favorite mug next to her tea. She never said thank you. She never said she noticed. But I kept doing it because I was waiting for her to say it. "I'm proud of you." As I got older, I saw other families. I went to my friend's house. Her mother hugged her when she walked in. She brought her soup when she was sick. She rubbed her back and whispered soft words. I smiled for my friend, but inside, I felt something cold, something sharp. Why didn't my mother do those things for me? At 16, I got a job at a small store. I was excited to earn money. With my first paycheck, I bought her a soft brown scarf. She needed a new one. I gave it to her with a smile. She looked at it and asked, "Why did you spend money on this?" I paused, then said softly, "I just wanted to give you something nice." She didn't say thank you. She didn't wear it. Later, I found it in a drawer, still folded, still new. That night, I sat on my bed. I held my pillow tight and stared at the ceiling. The scarf was still in my mind. So was the sticker, the cake, all the small things I gave her, all the pieces of myself, and all the silence I got in return. By the time I turned 17, I had stopped expecting anything from her. Not a hug, not a kind word, not even a smile. But a small part of me still hoped. Even if I pretended not to, I worked more hours at the store. It wasn't easy. My feet hurt after long days. My back ached, but I liked earning my own money. I saved most of it, but one day I bought something just for her. A set of simple silver earrings. She didn't wear jewelry often, but I remembered her saying once, "These are pretty," while looking at a pair in a store window. I gave them to her after dinner. She opened the box slowly. She looked at the earrings, then at me. "Why do you keep wasting money on me?" she said. I felt my face go hot. I said nothing. She closed the box and left it on the counter. She never wore them. That was the last gift I ever gave her. After high school, I wrote a short poem for a class project. It was about a girl waiting for her mother to see her. My teacher loved it. She sent it to a small writing contest. I didn't even know. 2 months later, I received a letter. I had won third place. My name was printed in the local newspaper. The school gave me a small paper certificate. I walked home smiling. For once, I felt proud of myself. When I got home, I opened the door and called, "Mom, look, I won something." She turned around from the sink, dried her hands, and took the paper. She read it, then handed it back. Her face didn't change. Her voice was flat. "Poems don't feed you," she said. "This isn't real work." Something broke inside me, but I didn't let it show. I just went to my room and sat on the bed, holding the paper. The words on it felt small now, empty, like they didn't matter anymore. I stared at the ceiling and asked myself a question I had asked many times before. Why am I never enough for her? When I turned 18, I moved out. I found a small room to rent. It was tiny and plain, but it was mine. I started working full-time at a food shop. The days were long, but I was free. I didn't have to wait for anyone to see me, to notice me, to love me. I made my own tea. I ate when I wanted. I read books alone on the floor. There was peace in the quiet. Still, I called her once a week. I would say, "Hi, Mom, how are you?" She would always reply, "I'm fine." Nothing more. I told her about my job, about the people I worked with. She never asked if I was happy. She never said she missed me. One day, I asked the question I had carried for years. "Mom," I said, "did I ever make you proud?" There was a long silence. Then she said, "You were always quiet, not like the other girls. You didn't do anything big." Her words echoed in my head all night. I couldn't sleep. I lay there, my eyes open in the dark, trying to understand what she wanted from me. What had I done wrong? I got up, made tea, and stared out the window. I told myself, "You are doing your best, and that has to be enough." But inside, I was still that little girl, standing in the kitchen, holding a cake, waiting for someone to say, "I see you. I'm proud of you." Life moved forward, slowly, quietly. I worked 5 days a week, sometimes 6. I saved money, paid rent, cooked simple meals. I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't happy either. I lived in the middle, not dark, not light, just gray. I still called my mother once a week, out of habit, out of hope, even though her voice never changed, even though she never asked how I really was. Then, one day, everything shifted. It was a Sunday morning. I was working the early shift. It was cold outside. The wind was strong. The streets were empty. An older woman walked into the store. She had soft eyes and a quiet smile. She asked for tea. I poured it. She watched me for a moment. Then she said, "You have gentle hands." I smiled politely. "Thank you," I said. Then she said, "You remind me of my daughter. She passed away last year." I looked at her. Her eyes were wet, but she smiled again. She was quiet too, she said, but kind, steady, strong in her own soft way. Something in me cracked, not broken, just opened. I gave her the tea. She said, "You're doing good work. You should be proud of yourself." Her words stopped me. You should be proud of yourself. No one had ever said that to me. Not like that. Not with such peace. She left, just like that. But I stood still for a long time. Her words stayed with me all day, all night, into the next morning. That afternoon, I sat on my bed. I opened my journal, and I wrote. A stranger saw me. She saw something good in me. Why couldn't my mother? Later that week, I called home. As always, my mother picked up. Her voice was flat. "Hello." "Hi, Mom. It's me." "I know," she said. I hesitated. Then I asked her something new. "Mom, can I ask you a question?" "What now?" she said. I took a breath. "Why are you never proud of me?" There was silence. Long, sharp, cold. I could hear her breathing. Then she said something I never expected, because I never knew how to show it. I froze. She continued, "When your father left, something broke inside me. I didn't know how to raise you alone. I didn't know how to be soft. I didn't know how to praise." I couldn't speak. She said, "I saw you every day, cleaning, working, trying so hard to make me smile. And I wanted to say something. I just couldn't." A tear rolled down my face. I had waited years for this. And now here it was. She said, "I was proud, but I didn't say it. And I'm sorry." I sat on the floor, phone in hand. My heart beat slow, soft. Not everything was healed, but something had opened. Something I never thought I would feel again. Hope. We didn't talk long after that. Just a few more words. But they weren't heavy. They weren't cold. When I hung up, I stared out the window. It had started to snow. Tiny flakes, falling slow. And in that quiet moment, I whispered to myself, she said she was proud. It wasn't loud. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And for now, that was enough. It has been 3 years since that phone call. 3 years since my mother said the words I waited my whole life to hear. "I was proud of you." Those words did not fix everything. They did not erase the pain, but they opened a small door inside me, a door to something soft, something I had never allowed myself to feel before. Peace. After that day, we talked more often. Not every day, but enough. Our calls were still quiet, sometimes short, but now they carried something new. Warmth. One day she even said, "I read your poem. It was beautiful." I paused. I did not know what to say. Those words felt like sunlight, soft, unexpected, real. I started writing more. Poems, stories, letters to myself. I wrote about that little girl in the kitchen, the one holding a dry cake, the one who waited for love that never came. And I wrote about the woman I became, a woman who found strength in silence, a woman who built herself from pain. One of my poems was published online. It was about mothers and daughters, about all the things we wish they would say, and all the words we never learned to speak. I got emails from strangers, women, girls, even a few men. They said, "I felt this too," or "This is my story." And in those words, I felt less alone. I realized something. There are so many people like me, so many children who grow up in quiet homes, full of noise that is not heard, not the noise of shouting, but the silence of things that were never said. I see you. I love you. I am proud of you. I used to think I needed my mother to say those things, but now I say them to myself. I look in the mirror and speak gently. You did your best. You are enough. You deserve kindness. I live in a small apartment now. It is quiet, but not empty. There are books, candles, a soft yellow chair by the window. I work at a bookstore. It is not a fancy job, but I love it. I love helping people find stories. I love holding books in my hands. I love the calm it brings. Sometimes I teach a writing class for young girls. They write about their dreams, their fears, their mothers. One girl asked me, "How do you write something real?" I said, "Start with what hurts. Write what you needed to hear. Say it, even if your voice shakes." She nodded. She understood. I write in my journal every night. I still write letters to the girl I used to be, the one who waited, the one who tried, the one who carried so much silence. I tell her, "You made it. You are safe now." Sometimes I see my mother. She is older now. Her hands are thinner. Her voice is softer. She does not say much. But once she looked at me and said, "You are stronger than I ever was." I smiled, not for her, but for me, because now I believe it. This story is not about blame. It is not about anger. It is about learning how to heal when the love you needed never came. And it is about learning how to give that love to yourself, to anyone who is listening and has never heard those words. I say them to you now. I see you. I believe in you. And I am proud of you.